I don't have trouble sleeping after visiting all these beautiful women.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Every one of them is a dance machine. They love to dance, and and looking at them, I think they can pull it off too.
I'm from Barranquilla. It's my first time in this social event, and I find good men. Thank you.
Really fun, tons of women. It's no way you can't pick out one or two people that you really want to just get to know a little bit more.
Yeah. But how did you like the evening so far?
Well, we have a good time, we have fun, participate in the contest, also know another people. It was cool.
Did you win?
No.
Next time.
I've had 3 friends that came through the agency. One has been married now for 6 years, one has been married for 4, and the other one has been married for about a year and 7 months. All 3 highly recommended coming on a tour. They highly recommend it to stop communicating through email with different profiles. They said, it's just completely different. You have to go down there, and once you go down there, you'll see what I'm talking about. You get to learn about different culture, different people. Things are completely different here than what I had expected. All the women are really beautiful, and you go to them and you might say something such as, hello, how are you doing? And instead of getting what you would get in the U.S., they're very open, especially being a foreigner. They love our accents, which I don't think I have an accent, but they're like, whoa, where are you from? I used to think, the reason they're talking to me is they just want to come to the U.S., but unfortunately, that is not the case. They don't want to leave their mother and father, their culture. They love their culture. They love to dance. So I found out a lot. So just by coming on the tour, compared to just looking at pictures, you see the difference. My 3 friends that have marriages, to this day, they're all happy.
Excellent.
Yeah?
Absolutely breathtaking.
All the goods.
Friendly.
Good evening, guys. How are you? Welcome to our Monday Night Live webcast. My name is Bud. If this is your first time joining us, I hope you find some good value in what we're doing here tonight. If you've been watching for a little while, you know the drill. We do this every Monday night for an hour to answer your questions and give you some great information around international dating and marriage. We answer your questions by having you drive the conversation. The green box right above me says that you can text me your questions by clicking the box and sending your questions. So please do so freely throughout the night. Ask me whatever you want to ask as it relates to our programs. I'll be very, very happy to read your question aloud so everybody can hear it, and then I'll answer it for you and for everybody. And that's what we'll do. In the middle of our discussion tonight, guys, I'm going to give you a little presentation. I've got 3 things that international women notice about you in the first 5 minutes of your first date. Some of them may be a little predictable, some of them probably not what you're thinking of, but I'm going to give you 3 things that international women notice about you and why they're important. And it's going to be great, so you can look forward to that in a few minutes. We're looking at video footage from Odessa, Ukraine. This is last summer Odessa tour. I was the leader of this fine group of men, and I recognize a lot of faces, some good friends that I have in this video. So love doing the tours and making friends, love staying in touch with our great clients. You know, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, guys, that's for sure, but I do make a lot of friends on our tours. And we do an orientation on every tour. We sit down on Thursday night, 7:30. Guys have flown from all over the world, and they're tired and jet lagged, but they're excited and running on adrenaline, and we get together, we get some drinks, whatever, we sit down, and the first thing I say to guys is, we're gonna be together for the next 10 days. For those of you doing one tour, we'll be together for the next 3 weeks. Those of you doing the dual tour, and if you listen to me, your tour is gonna be spectacular, and if you don't listen to me, your tour is probably gonna suck. And I do that because I give guys, you know, the most candid advice I can based on 26 previous tours to help them take the shortest possible route to get in front of the woman that they came there to meet. And I like to think that my candid advice is appreciated because it's honest and direct. Cool? Yeah. All right, so guys, you're going to drive the conversation tonight. We've got a great topic for you, as I mentioned. We've got some really good events coming up, some really interesting things you may want to be aware of. We've got tours coming up. We always have tours coming up. I think our next tour is in 3 weeks. July 4th, Costa Rica. Our summer Costa Rica tour is always one of our best tours, and we love our staff in Costa Rica. So Costa Rica's on deck. Then we'll be in Ukraine for 3 weeks from the 11th until the end of the month, doing 5 cities. There's a 2-city tour with Kiev and Kharkov. There's a 3-city tour, Odessa, Nikolaev, and Kherson. Again, we're looking at video footage from last year's July Odessa tour. And you know, guys, this is great footage, right? So that girl in the blue dress, just so you know, that my friend Smiling Tom is dancing with is one of our great staff members from Kiev who came down to Odessa to help us out, right? Her name's Olga, lovely girl, a lot of fun, great personality. Some of the girls that you're watching are actually our staff, women that you would interact with every day, checking in on you, making sure that you got what you need and you're getting plenty of dates. And some of the women you see are interpreters, and some of them, of course, most of them are our client women who come to us to meet guys like you. And I sure do recognize some faces. It's great. You know why I recognize faces in our videos? Because we have a lot of women coming to, you know, several socials. So I meet them over the period of a year, 2 or 3 socials. Why is that? Because there are so many of them and so few men in comparison. We take a pretty healthy group in July, though. It may be 30, 40, 50 guys sometimes. But man, we can bring 400 women to a social easily. And in July, there are going to be 5 socials in 5 cities. So the numbers are pretty staggering. It is what it is. There's a reason this whole entire environment exists. But I want you to understand, guys, that if you decide to travel with us, as you're looking at video footage, the video footage just before I came on, you know where that was from? All those beautiful exotic women? That was from Barranquilla, Colombia. We had a great tour in Barranquilla in February. First tour we've had in Barranquilla that I can remember in a couple of years. And man, love that video footage. Here, we're going to see a little bit of it again, Kirk, it looks like. Barranquilla, Colombia, guys. So what I love about Barranquilla, Colombia in general, again, the diversity of people in Colombia, right? Again, you have the descendants of Spaniards, you have the descendants of indigenous people that have always been there, you have the descendants of, you know, unfortunately Caribbean slaves that were brought to Colombia by the Spaniards. It all blends together, beautiful and exotic. You could be sitting at a table like the one we're looking at right now, and the distinct features from woman to woman will be very, very different. And it's very, very unique to Colombia, Peru, Costa Rica. In Latin America, we experience this very beautiful diversity. You know, the gene pool is not that diverse in places like Ukraine, you know, or China or the Philippines. So just a lovely exotic people in Colombia, and it's so much fun to go there and meet these really beautiful women. We have more tours to Colombia coming up this year. Some of you definitely have your eye on the women of Latin America. We got a lot of great possibilities for you. In addition to the upcoming singles tours, we've got some great international dating seminars. So I'll tell you what, guys, if you like the Monday night webcasts, you will definitely like the seminars. But I'll tell you what, you know, John and I, I've said this before, I think it's just interesting. John and I do an entirely different seminar. There are some common themes. You know, we both talk about how the tours are broken down and what happens on a tour. You know, we talk about the fiancé visa process. We probably share a few common anecdotes. But I take an entirely different approach. Mine is more big picture. John's is more, you know, breaking down distinctly what we do and where we do it. Both are very, very valuable. We could combine them both into a 6-hour seminar, but that's a lot to sit through. But our seminars are very intense. I've seen John's seminar. He's very intense. I'm definitely very intense. A lot of, you know, candid, upfront, no holds barred information to peel away the tons and tons and tons of negative crap that you read on the internet, or the exact opposite of that, the marketing stuff that's just too slick and too good to be true. We just peel away all of that stuff and just give you information that's very good and reliable, and we back it up with a lot of video where we break down the things we're talking about and point out what's going on for you. So for example, we'll show you, here's a video where the guy is talking to this girl in the middle of the social. The girl to his left is his interpreter. Let's watch the dynamic between the interpreter and the girl, the guy and the interpreter, how all three of them make the whole thing, the communication works so seamlessly and so easily. That's just one of the many, many, many things that we talk about in our tours, in our international dating seminar. So we've got seminars that are coming up that are designed to give you 4 hours, your 1 4-hour opportunity to learn everything there is to really learn about international dating, from a very, very candid, realistic, reliable, honest source. And you leave the seminar feeling whatever happens after this, I know what I'm getting myself into. I know the potentials, I know the pitfalls, I know how to avoid them, I know how to go get that girl, and more than anything, I know that I absolutely can and should go get my girl. So, international dating seminars, those of you who are in LA and Denver and Jacksonville, you're on deck. Because LA and Denver are this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, respectively. I will be in LA. I will be in Denver on Sunday, 11 to 3 both days. RSVP bud@loveme.com. If you want to know exactly where we're going to be, it's on our website, loveme.com, or you can just write to me or call me. And then Jacksonville, guys, on the 30th, right? The 30th, last Sunday of the month of June, I will be in Jacksonville. Second trip to Jacksonville. The first one was spectacular a couple years ago. And this is only our second seminar in Jacksonville. We usually go to South Florida, have a really good reception there. But those of you in the northern part of the state definitely want us to be there, so I'm going to do Jacksonville. So guys, LA, Denver, Jacksonville, you're on deck. July 6th is a Saturday. John will be in San Diego doing a seminar from 11 to 3. So again, 11 to 3, all of those days. And if you want to come out, get some great information, look, it's very informal. We'll drink some coffee, we'll have some sweets, we'll have a lunch. We'll talk and answer a ton of questions. You can just sit in the back of the room, never say a word, get up and leave when it's all over, but you're getting good information. Or you can give it all you got, participate, ask the toughest questions you can ask, get the answers that you need, and come out of those seminars feeling like you're ready to go. You got this. You're going to get on a plane, you're going to put yourself in this video, you're going to meet these women, and you're going to have a time of your life, the most excellent vacation you've ever had. You're probably going to meet somebody really, really significant and have love and romance in your life again because you deserve it and you went and got it like a man. Come to our seminars, guys. RSVP bud@loveme.com. I'll summarize that for you in the end here. Let's get some of your questions. You got questions for me tonight, guys? You always do. Whoa, my goodness. Ask and you shall receive, right? I get it. Great, guys. All right, let me get your questions in here. There we go. And then we're going to break off here in a few minutes to talk about 3 things international women notice about you in the first 5 minutes of your first date and why they are important. All right, just drinking some coffee, guys. My coffee's so strong, if I drink a full cup, it's probably going to make me talk to God. By the end of the webcast, he'll probably be talking back. That'll be interesting. Anyway, all right. Sean says, I've been corresponding with a lady from Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Told her I'm planning to meet her in a couple of months. Told her on our last letter that I'll be going on dates with a few other women from Playa. She sent me a message today stating she didn't like the fact that I'm talking to other women from Playa. I informed her that she'll be my first date, but she didn't care and told me a letter I received today. She wanted to call everything off and I should continue my search. Well, Sean, number 1, you definitely should continue your search. Number 2, that's completely bogus because there's an agency and a translator that's supposed to represent women. I suppose any girl has the right to say that. This is the thing about Playa, guys. The women in Playa are incredibly popular, really the most popular women on our site. And if you're writing to them, you're in fine company. It is what it is. I mean, they're very beautiful. They're model-esque. They're definitely some of the more popular women on our website for a reason. And maybe just a little too picky. That's just my impression. So I don't know. I would move on. But I'll tell you what. I don't know. I think, frankly, you probably need to call us up and talk to us about that because I might be able to rectify that situation for you. So would you just copy that question into an email and send it to me tomorrow, bud@loveme.com, and let me just look into that a little bit for you, my friend, all right? You definitely Guys, wherever you go, wherever you're going to meet ladies, be a gentleman at all times. One of the things that I don't like about our industry is that it just pushes the numbers too hard, right? There'll be thousands of women at the socials. There are millions of women who are lonely. Yes, that's actually true, but the reality is all of that is so overstated, and I think that the overstatement of those numbers is completely unnecessary. And so I think those numbers are there to protect you. I think the idea is you go abroad and you can meet very respectfully and conducting yourself as a gentleman, of course, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 women that you enjoy meeting, having cups of coffee, having dates with. There's nothing wrong with that. On a singles cruise, you would do the exact same thing. You know, in a personal matchmaking program, any man or any woman would do the exact same thing, right? How many contestants are there for the Bachelorette? You're going to have dates with a number of women. You need to do that. You're not just trying to find a woman, and you're not just trying to fill that gap with anybody. You are trying to find, you know, the best available person, right? Your soulmate, and not just anybody. And the women feel the exact same way. They need to meet more than one guy in order to know that they've met the right person. That is a natural part of the process. So absolutely do not go abroad to meet only one person. I get guys all the time that tell me they're doing that to show how serious and chivalrous they are. I would not recommend that. I definitely recommend the chivalrous part, but go and meet a number of women to make sure the one that you're going to spend the most time with and move forward with is absolutely right for you. Great question. Thanks for asking. Glenn says, what are the deadlines to book a reservation tour for August? The deadline for any tour on our tour schedule, the 2019-2020 tour schedule is now available at loveme.com. And it's 30 days from the start of the tour, guys. All right, so if the tour starts on the 1st of September, then we're going to need payment by the 1st of August. And we're going to need to have everything wrapped up and ready to go with a 30-day window. Why? Because 30 days out, we're going to, give our list of final names to the hotels. If they're holding a block of rooms for us, if there are any rooms that aren't sold, they're going to go ahead and sell them. That's just part of our working relationship. So 30 days out, if you decide it's less than 30 days, but I want to go on this tour, okay. For example, some of you might be thinking you want to go on the upcoming Ukraine tours, but we're less than 30 days out. So, all right, that's okay, but call us up and just say, hey, can I still make this tour? And we'll direct you properly, all right? But I would say, rule of thumb, 30 days out from the start of the tour would be great deadline to have everything paid for your tour. Guys, green box above me, click, write your questions to me, send them to me, let's have them. I want to answer your questions in addition to giving you some great information tonight. We're looking now at video footage from one of our very recent tours to Shenzhen, China. Great city, very modern city. Some very, very beautiful women in Shenzhen, right? Lovely women in Shenzhen. Yeah, man. Tom says, do the women that I'm writing know when I open or read their letters? What about pictures? Thanks. No, Tom, they don't know. There's no way for them to know when you open the letter unless you reply to it. Jason says, on a Euro Club tour, do I still get matchmaking help like I would on a tour? So yes, Jason. In fact, the Euro Club tour, guys, is when you are traveling to Ukraine or Russia by yourself. So in other words, you're going to Kiev to meet with our staff. There's no tour group around. There's no scheduled tour or tour events. There's just you working with our staff on a very, personalized, short program to arrange daily introductions for you for a week or 10 days, whatever length of time you choose. That's what we call a Euro Club. We have Latin clubs, Asian clubs, etc. So you can go to the Philippines and do the same thing, stay for a week, work directly with our staff every day, get some great introductions. And the idea is, you're going to go through the list of profiles on our database. You're going to compile your list of women that you'd like to meet. You're going to give that to our staff. Our staff is going to call those women on your behalf. They'll make suggestions to you, try this, try that. Here's a great place to go on a date. If they need to coach you up, that's a little sensitive. I don't think that the staff, wants to offend our clients. So, but you can have a conversation. Tell me your opinion of this. Am I saying this correctly? What about this? Is my approach correct? What am I doing wrong? If there are issues to talk about, you can ask the staff and they'll genuinely, sincerely advise you and try and help you. But their job is to make sure you're getting out on dates and having a good time. And when you're having a good time, which you certainly will be having a great time, most of the time, keep that momentum rolling. Hey, you had a great first date with that girl. She really liked you too, and I think she's ready to commit to another date. You want me to call her and set it up? Let's get that out of the way so tomorrow you've got a second date with this girl who really enjoyed meeting you. How about that? That kind of dynamic you definitely will get on your Euro clubs. Right, great, guys. Appreciate your questions very, very much. Bob says, in my mid-60s, thinking of Latin America, looking for someone age-appropriate, 49 to late 50s, do you recommend Colombia or Peru for older women? I recommend Colombia, Peru, and Costa Rica, my friend. I recommend anywhere in Latin America, the women in their 40s, I'm sure will be very, very happy, to meet you. I did a tour to Cartagena, Colombia. I had two hysterically awesome, funny guys, both in their 70s. They both met, got engaged to, and ultimately married women from who were in their 40s. One was 43 and one was 45. So you can definitely do that in Colombia. You can do it in Costa Rica. You can do it in Peru all day long, my friend. I would just go where you want to go. Now, one way to decide, guys, if it's a toss-up between a couple of places, is to use the search engine to search for women from specific cities. Do one search for women from one city or country, another search, and then another. Separate those. Keep track of where you find the most attractive profiles. And if there's just one where you've got a huge number of women that you'd like to date over the other options, that's the obvious choice, right? That's the place to go. David, Bud, looking forward to buying you a drink or two in July. Why, David? That's the nicest thing anybody said to me. What's the clothing suggestions for July? I tell you what, guys, July in Ukraine is humid and hot. It really is. Last spring and summer, all of Europe, and certainly Ukraine was just going through a bit of a heat wave. So air conditioning works in your hotels, which is nice, in most cafes, but it's a little sticky if you're not used to it. We're down in Phoenix, like they say, it's a dry heat. An oven is a dry heat too, but it's kind of like an oven. It's hot. But the humidity will definitely be there. The good news is very cool in the evening, especially in a city like Odessa, that beautiful breeze coming off the Black Sea. Nikolaev, Kherson, those cities and such. So, shorts, you can wear shorts if you want, if they're dressy shorts. I think, many Ukrainian men don't wear them. Young Ukrainian men do. Most Ukrainian men our age don't. The women might feel a little strange about that. They won't in Odessa. They might in Kharkov or Kiev. So very, very comfortable slacks, very comfortable dress shoes to walk around the city in. I think that dressier shirts that are short sleeve are great. I think polo shirts are great. V-neck t-shirts are great. Keep it casual, keep it light, keep it cool. And that's what you do for July, my friend. Looking forward to seeing you. How do Ukrainian women view dating a man younger than them, say 5 years? Well, depending on their age, Jerry, I don't think a lot of women would have a problem with that. If the women are, probably 35 and older, I don't think they'd have a problem with that. Honestly, I think that's a bit of a luxury for the women in Ukraine. All right, guys. It was Father's Day. Did you have a good Father's Day this weekend? Father's Day is awesome, right? Very privileged to be a dad. I've got 5, including a stepson, and they're all completely spectacular, man. I'm the luckiest man on the planet to have such great kids, and I know a lot of you feel the same way. It's always fun on Father's Day to just kind of reflect on what it means to be a dad and the experience of being a dad, right? A lot of my clients are dads, so got a lot of messages yesterday. Happy Father's Day. I sent a bunch of messages yesterday, so I hope you had a good Father's Day. For those of you who aren't a dad or haven't been a dad recently, or your children are older, a lot of women who come to us all over the world are single moms with a child with no dad in the picture, no dad that's been around for a long time. Great, great opportunity for you to bring a child as a mentor to your home and to guide and raise that child, and then one day, the child's in Little League. One day the child is a Cub Scout, and then the next day he's playing football, and the next day he's going off to university, and then you're having these really great man-to-man conversations, and that whole journey, I know you can identify with. It's just a fabulous, fantastic, highly rewarding journey, right? So happy post-Father's Day, guys. Focus forward. More questions, and then I got a little presentation for you. Are the socials on Friday or Saturday, says Jesse? And what time do they start and stop, especially the social in July for Kiev? I've heard they are now a few hours longer. Well, they've always been and will be from about 5:30 to 9:30 or 10 in Ukraine, if that's what we're talking about. In other countries, generally 5 to 9, 6 to 10. It varies a little bit from country to country, but that's typically when we do the social. It's in the evening. And everywhere we go around the world, So we're talking 7 different countries except Ukraine. The socials are always on Friday and Saturday night. We always start on a Thursday night, wherever we go, Philippines, Thailand, Latin America, etc. Always begin on Thursday night. 24 hours, we get an orientation, we get to know our way around, we get to know the staff and each other, we sleep, we eat food, and do man stuff. And then Friday night is our first social. Saturday will be our second social. And the rest of the time is open so that you can go out on dates with girls that you're meeting at the social events. Now in Ukraine it's a little different because in Ukraine we go to more than one city. Everywhere we go in Latin America or Asia, we stay in one city for the whole entire time. And we have 2 socials, one on Friday, one on Saturday, different group of women each time. In Ukraine we go from one city to another, possibly to another, and in every city we have one social. What's this, Kirk? Just Dnipro. This is our recent social in the very large city in the eastern part of Ukraine called Dnipro. And this is our social from Dnipro just a little while ago, about a month or so ago, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Bob says, I had one question for Kirk. If Bogota is the capital of Colombia, why aren't there listings through loveme.com website to order flowers in your Bogota listing? So the question is, and that's not a question for Kirk at all. Bob is asking, do we have flower and gift delivery in Bogota? And the answer is, I'll tell you shortly. I don't know if we do or not. Bogota is the capital, but that has nothing to do with whether or not we deliver flowers to it. We're not FTD, you understand. If we have a lot of women from Bogota on our site, that might dictate, whether or not we deliver flowers there. Maybe there's a threshold, Bob. Maybe there's just a certain number of women in an area that we need to have to make that happen. But as I go to loveme.com and look up the countries and cities in which we send flowers, as I look at Colombia, Barranquilla, Cartagena, Manizales, and Medellin, that's where we have large concentrations of women. I don't see that we do flower delivery to Bogota, and that's probably because we don't have very many women in Bogota. Just a couple would be my guess. So yeah, all right. I'm gonna take 1 or 2 more questions, guys, and then we're gonna dive into a topic that I have for you tonight. 3 things that international women notice about you in the first 5 minutes of your first date. All right. Bob says, if you book a tour and pay in full for a tour, then a few days out you get sick, death in the family, etc., is there some way to insure the trip price? So we do have a policy for refunds or transfer of funds to another tour. You can read about it very specifically on our tour schedule. So at loveme.com, right menu, you will see our tours to Latin America, our tours to Asia, our tours to Ukraine. And if you read at the below the initial information on those pages which talk about our tours, they will tell you the cancellation policy for our tours. So we always try and do the right thing for our clients, but of course cancellation fees are going to cost us. So there's no way to recover some of that. But go ahead and read those policies, and if you have any questions around what refunds are available on short notice right before the tour, then just call us up and talk to us and we'll break it down for you so that you definitely have your mind wrapped comfortably around that whole thing before you book a tour. All right. Chris is asking if a guy is on tour and he meets a lady while moving around and he decides to stay in a place with a lady. How does he get back to the group to get on the plane to come home? Well, so that depends a little bit, Chris, on where she is. But typically there are trains, planes, and automobiles, so you can always take a taxi. Maybe you can share a taxi if someone is staying behind. So for example, we start out in Odessa, we go to Kharkov, then we come back to Odessa. Kharkov is great. We come back to Kiev. So some guys will start in Kiev, go to Kharkov, meet women in Kharkov, want to stay in Kharkov, and then come back to Kiev toward the end of the tour. And you can fly, you can take a taxi, you can take a train. Some guys will split the cost of sharing a taxi. Flights are cheap and quick most of the time. Trains are too. So, there are a number of options. You would just let your staff know, I'm staying behind for a couple of days, and let us help you to make comfortable arrangements for you to get back to Kiev. But it's very, very, very easy to do that. Look, guys, when you go to the Philippines, when you go to Cebu or go to Davao, when you go to Ukraine, certainly when you go to Colombia, when you go where we don't go to places that are inherently uncomfortable to go to. That would be completely counterproductive, right? And you'll find that whenever you go where we're going on tour, 24 hours into it, you'll be breathing happily and comfortably. You'll be looking around going, this is cool, interesting place, lots of nice people, great food. This is fun, having a blast. And you'll very, very comfortably decide, okay, I can tweak this a little bit if I want to, stay a little more here, you know, spend more time with this person here, make my way back later on. You can do those things very, very comfortably. And you can certainly ask our staff, and they'll accommodate you as much as they can and help you as much as they can. Great questions, guys. All right, one more question from Jerry, and then I'll pick it up with Mike when I get back from our presentation. Jerry says, when corresponding with women by express mail through your site, do they have to pay the cost for sending mail as the men are required to do? No, they do not. We do not charge the women to send mail. Most of the women in the countries that we go to, Jerry, have very little money and wouldn't pay, couldn't pay, and the whole thing would be very counterproductive. So yes, it is on us if we're going to correspond with the women to pay for that correspondence. That is just the nature of the beast, my friends. All right. I want to take you to a little presentation that I made for you, made with love, all kinds of it, because we were talking about the upcoming tours around the office today, and the topic of dating and expectations on dates and that sort of thing came up. And I realized that when it comes to international dating, there are some things definitely that women are looking for in a guy. I mean, we've even interviewed, you can see these great interviews all over our channel, right? We've interviewed women, you know, who are here trying to meet somebody. Who are you? What's your story? Why did you join a marriage agency? What kind of man would you like to meet? And one of the questions that we'll ask them frequently is, you know, what are you looking for in a guy? What do you notice about a guy? So when we arrange a date, you know, what are the things that are really important to you that you're looking for right away? And they tell us all the time, and if you watch a lot of those interviews, you'll hear the women speak to some of the information I'm about to give you. 3 things foreign women will notice about you in the first 5 minutes of your date. Frankly, in the first 2 or 3 minutes of your date. And why they are important to you, all right? You ready? Set, go. We want you to have fun dates. So let's think about the pre-date ritual. You know, you're on our tour, and you see Svetlana's photo, and you go, wow, she's cute. I want to date that girl. And you say, Bud, call that girl and get us a date. And our staff calls up Svetlana, and we say, Svetlana, here's this guy. He's really cool. Nice guy. Wants to meet you, notice your profile, thought, you know, you like this, he likes this, you have some things in common, and he wants to date you. Are you available today? Would you like to go out on a date today, tonight? What's your schedule? Tonight at 7? Great, you've got a date with this guy tonight at 7, Sveta, we'll see you. And then we'll say, great, we've just confirmed your date. What is she then doing? Well, she may be doing any number of things. She may be, okay, great, I need to clear my schedule to make sure that I have, you know, my cosmetics done well, I've got my nails done, I've got my dress picked out, I've got everything looking good, I've got childcare provided for if I need it, I've got a few hours off from work, I've got cover there. And women are going to do things to prepare for the date. It's rare that the women say okay and they just show up without putting some effort into this date, especially in the communication. If we tell the women, which we frequently will, super nice guy, and he seems to really like your profile, and quite frankly, you know, pretty good looking guy, nice smile, great personality. Every time, every single time that we call a woman up and say, so-and-so is in town and he wants to date you. If she hasn't met you before or hasn't, you know, met you online, has not written to you, doesn't know anything about you, 100% of those women are going to say, okay, great. Who is he? What does he do for a living? How old is he? You know, tell me basically what he looks like. What do you think of his personality? They're going to ask those questions. And it's our job to present you properly, speak to your strengths, and make sure that we impress the women with those things so that she will come and meet you. Because a lot of the guys don't understand this, and I know that I offend a lot of people when I say it, but there are a lot of really awful, stupid men going to Ukraine every year that the women just don't want to date. And they're the ones writing a lot of stuff on the internet, quite frankly. Sorry, but it's true. The good, wholesome men with good hearts who take care of themselves, who care about themselves, and are gentlemen, wholesome, noble gentlemen, do really, really well. So when you show up and we call the girl up and say, so-and-so wants to meet you, she's going to say, great, tell me about Mr. So-and-so. And we will. And then she will get ready for her date, and then you will go and get ready for your date, and then your date is, it's time, right? It's 7 o'clock, and you're ready to meet Svetlana. She's going to meet you right outside the hotel with her interpreter, and you look down the street, and here she comes, right? And she looks great. Killer dress, beautiful girl, big smile, and you're like, yeah, baby, it's going to be a good night. and you're excited about your date. So she walks up to you with her interpreter. Hi, how are you? I'm so-and-so, your interpreter. This is Svetlana. Or maybe Svetlana's by herself if she speaks English. That could happen too. Hi, I'm Svetlana, right? And you have that moment where you say hello, maybe you'll shake hands, maybe you'll kiss a hand, whatever you do, whatever you think is appropriate. And from that moment forward, you are on the clock, my friend. The 5-minute hourglass has been turned over, and these are the things that she's going to be looking at. So while you're talking to her, and while the interpreter is translating, and the two of you are talking to each other, in between sentences, she's thinking, she's looking. You'll see her eyes, looking you up and down, looking around you, looking right at you, and she is assessing 3 things about you right up front. There are other things that she'll assess. You know, what are your motives for being in Ukraine? How ready are you for a relationship? You know, she'll assess those things about you throughout the evening because she needs more time to assess those important things. But in the first 5 minutes, here are 3 things she is going to be looking at. Number 1, without a doubt, your sense of style. What sense of style, you say? Well, look, guys, if you're going to go to somewhere to date the women, you just have to see, how do they present themselves? Do they take the time to present themselves in a certain way? They're probably looking for the male equivalent of that, whatever that is. And many of you go to China, go to Ukraine, you meet very, very beautiful women. The women in China, the women in Ukraine, they have a certain kind of style. It's very fashionable. The women in Colombia as well, they know how to pick a dress that fits their form perfectly, whatever their form is, right? You know it from that Barranquilla video we were looking at earlier and those Medellin videos. The women know how to dress in a manner that's just incredibly flattering for their very, very beautiful appearances. So, they're going to look at you. Do you have a sense of style? Is there a certain way that you like to present yourself? They are definitely going to be assessing that. So what does that mean? What does it say about you? Your sense of style shows, first of all, your level of respect for her. Did you dress up for this date? Are you coming on this date, you know, dressed up like you're going to Woodstock? I'm talking about the concert. You know, right? You got that kind of casual khaki pants, you know, old sandals look. You know, women definitely want to know that you want to present yourself to them in a way that impresses and amuses them. That is a statement of respect for her. If you show up without doing that, you know, the women are going to notice that, and they're going to feel like you didn't necessarily give the occasion the proper amount of respect. So when you do put some effort into your style, even just the right amount of effort into presenting yourself properly for a date, the women are going to notice that, and they're going to appreciate it. It's going to impress them. Of course, your sense of style shows your level of self-respect. Do you care how people see you when you're walking down the street? Do you care how you're presented? Do you want people to look at you for just a moment and go, whoa, dude, nice blazer, right? I like that look. You like that look, right? People look at you and go, well, man, nice shirt, good choice. Something like that. You know, you put some time into finding something that looks good on you and looks good in general. It's nice when people notice that about you, right? Because you have pride and self-respect. And your sense of style, if you put a little bit of attention into it, definitely speaks to that. It also shows a little bit of your creativity and self-image. When you look at our videos, you will occasionally see men, and they're not just wearing, you know, a black suit with a white shirt. Not that there's anything really wrong with that, but you know, I frequently see, you know, the color suit that almost kind of shines a little bit under light. It's usually kind of a darker black or blue or something in between. There's almost kind of a shiny neon effect to the material. I see guys wearing the, you know, very trendy black sport coat with casual slacks and a red shirt. You know, you'll see sometimes it's just jeans and dress shoes and the right button-down shirt, you know, but maybe there's a certain kind of a watch or a certain scarf if it's the right time of year. But if you have a certain flair for style and a little bit of creativity, or you just have a certain self-image, your style speaks to that. This is how I see myself. I'm wearing a black leather jacket because this is who I am. And you project that in your style choices when you go out on a date. Of course, your favorite colors. You know, you're wearing blue because you like the color blue, or you're wearing red because you like the color red. That makes sense. Those are things that the women are going to notice about you. I'll tell you what, believe it or not, what you wear on a date shows your awareness of the culture that you're in. So in other words, is there something about this culture? You know, if women in the Philippines, very laid back, they will definitely dress nicely for a date. If you show up in something that's casually dressy, they're going to appreciate that. If you show up for a date in a suit, that's going to be a little much for the Philippines, I think, most of the time. You know, if you show up in something that is very cool and very trendy, but not too loud, if it's just completely crazy, obnoxious, loud, then in Ukrainian culture, people are going to be looking at you from across the street. Women in Ukraine absolutely hate that. They hate it when all eyes are on them, staring in disbelief, right? And it's just a Ukrainian thing. Russia's the same way. In Russian and Ukrainian culture, people don't like to attract a lot of attention to themselves for very long. They certainly like to get a few glances, a few stares, a few looks, you know, a nod of approval, but they don't like people staring at them and talking about them. They hate that. So if you're wearing something that just absolutely stands out, I just remember a client who wore an orange jumpsuit on every single date in the middle of Lugansk in the afternoon, and he couldn't stand out any more than he did. And his date would just, you know, delay. His date would show up an hour or two late frequently because she just thought that's a little too loud for me. And the darker it gets in the day, the less we're going to stand out. And I tried to communicate that to him. He just wasn't having it. So your style choices matter, guys. Great opportunity to impress the women. Great opportunity. Look, you have a certain jacket or a certain, you've done this before. A leather jacket, sport coat. You put the thing on and you become James Bond immediately, right? It just changes how you feel about yourself. It changes your posture and the way you carry yourself because you feel good. You look good, right? People compliment you when you wear this particular item. So it's very important that you make an effort to have some style. There are all kinds of blogs and resources and places on the internet where you can go, but show up and make a statement, the biggest statement of which is right at the top of that list. You respect her. This date was so important for me. You know, I wore the best thing I have. I mean, I went out shopping for clothes. I, you know, read some style blogs. I had a style, you know, consultant who helped me to buy the perfect thing so that I could wear something that just looks great for this date because I really wanted to meet you and impress you with what I'm wearing. Number 2 of the 3 things that women are going to notice and assess about you within 5 minutes and why they're important. Number 2, your voice. Your voice and how you use it, believe it or not, the women are definitely going to be watching that on your date. So what does your voice say about you? Your voice and the way you use it has a lot to do with your sense of self-importance. So if you're always, I talked to somebody today who every time I tried to give him information, he would finish my sentence for me. I know you know people who do that, right? They're trying to show that they're listening. They believe they're listening actively. They already want to get on to the next question and the next, so they don't need you to finish your sentence. They're going to finish the sentence for you, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong, but it's very, very hard to get them to listen to you. So sometimes if you use your voice in an aggressive way, if you're not patient in the way you use your voice, if you're really, really loud, right? Americans, everywhere we go, we're really, really loud. At breakfast on our tours, we're hooping it up, we're laughing. Everybody else around us is quietly, respectfully having a nice breakfast, some conversation, but we kind of lose the moment and we get a little excited sometimes, and the adrenaline and such just take over. So sometimes we're just really, really loud. So are you really, really loud? You know, are you considerate with the way that you use your voice? Do you have this quiet masculinity about you? Do you sound soothing and considerate? Obviously, your place in the crowd, that's something that you project with your voice as well. If you want everybody to notice you, you've all had guys like that, right? They're the joker at the party. They want all eyes on them. They're cracking all the jokes. They can't get enough attention. They didn't get enough attention when they were really young, apparently. So now they want all the attention. And if you're really loud and really boisterous, you know, to the point of making things a little bit uncomfortable, that's definitely going to be noticed. Now, I know somebody who's a great personality, and he is definitely loud, and he jokes a lot. He's got a great heart. He's a sweetheart of a guy. He just likes to make jokes and have fun and laugh and smile. And he's very good at projecting it without being overbearing. And the women eventually, in the beginning, I'm sure when they meet him, they think this guy's crazy. But after an hour or so with him, he's a sweetheart. He's fun to be with, and they love that. So your level of self-confidence, when you speak, how confident you are in yourself, in what you're looking for. You know, how confident you are in your purpose to find somebody, how confident you are in do you deserve that life mate that you're trying to meet? Are you really ready for it? All of that will be projected in the way you use your voice. Your attitude toward others, obviously, right? You can't be nice to her and be rude to the waiter. She's going to notice that. You can't be sweet to her and be rude to the interpreter. She will definitely notice that. That never, by the way, goes over well. So the people around you, she will be definitely watching how you speak to the interpreter, how you speak to people around you. Your sense of humor. Your sense of kindness. Do you say nice things? Do you choose nice words? Do you speak positively about your relationships with people from work, with people in your personal life, your friends, your family, your associates, colleagues, the staff? You know, are you speaking kindly? Are you generous with your compliments, but sincere? You know, your vocabulary, your intelligence, all of these things you project in the way that you speak. All of these things. She's going to ask you questions in the first 5 minutes. So, how do you like Ukraine? Like it a lot. It's great. I love this. I love that. You know, what do you like about Ukraine? So why are you here? Why are you looking for a wife in Ukraine? Those are always the first initial questions they're going to ask because they're nervous. They're just trying to think of the easiest go-to default questions they can ask in the beginning. They just want to hear you talk so they can assess your personality. And of course, when they're talking to you and you're speaking to them and they say things that are significant, did you pick up on that? Did you hear it? Did you like it? Are you okay with it? Did you notice it? Can you speak to it? Do you share that value or that dream? Your level of attentiveness and your level of listening, all of those things you project with your voice, and all of those things they're going to be watching carefully in the first 5 minutes as they get to know you. Something else I promise you the women are going to notice about you is, what cologne are you wearing? What is your smell? What is your scent? Women around the world believe your perfume is your trademark. Your perfume is your brand. Your perfume is your business card, right? Your perfume subtly says a lot about you. And when you choose a cologne or not, how you smell, the women are definitely going to notice. You've had this experience before, right, guys? You meet somebody, and within a moment, you smell just that little bit of perfume, and you're like, wow. Maybe I've had this experience before, you have too. You walk by someone in the mall, you don't even talk to them, of course, but they walk by you, and just as they walk by you, wow, what is that perfume? That is perfect. I love that. They will notice. They will notice your cologne. They will notice your smell, your scent. Is it a scent that draws somebody in? Is it a scent that holds them away? It's very important, and they will notice it right away, guarantee you. So the choice that you make is very, very important. What does your cologne say about you? What does your scent say about you? Number one, it'll say, you know, what is your current mood? Are you all business? Are you ready to roll up your sleeves and go to work? Are you ready to play? Are you ready to have fun? Are you tired and a little stressed? Are you relaxed and happy? Are you enjoying the environment around you? All of that, it can be reflected very easily in your choice of cologne. Most men have a couple of different colognes that they wear, one for one occasion, one for another, right? One in the gym, you know, one when you go out, you know, on a date or some social occasion. It certainly says a lot about your personality. Now, here's a few examples of that, if I will, okay? So I've got this cologne. It's a Hugo Boss cologne, and I really like it, but it has a very, very distinct smell. A lot of Hugo Boss colognes are light, a little bit of citrus, a little woodsy. This one is a thick, woodsy smell, and I can't say that I've ever smelled a cologne that's just like this. So this is a cologne, when you wear it, that smells like a pile of cedar. I mean, it really does. It's not quite burning fireplace smell, but if you went out to the porch and gathered up some cedar to bring it into your fireplace, that is exactly what that smells like. It's a great smell. I think it's a little bit of a seasonal smell. I think it's probably appropriate in autumn and winter, or if you're going to work and you're going to be around your work colleagues, you know, a little bit of that, I'm here to work. I think if you were going on a formal date, like you were going to the ballet or to the opera, it's probably a very appropriate cologne for something like that, right? And so there's another cologne. It's just a small little thing that I picked up at Zara, but it's very, very different. It's much lighter, and you know, obviously I don't have much of it, but this is a cologne when I wear it, a little citrusy, a little bit woodsy, much lighter than the Hugo Boss version over here. This I would wear on a casual evening. This, you know, if you were going out on a date, this would be an appropriate type of cologne to wear. It's subtle, it's interesting, it's definitely flavorful and attractive. People would like it. People would, you know, you'd walk by people and they would get a little bit of a hint of that, and that would be really pleasant for them. The choice that you make is very, very important because it speaks to who you are, what you're thinking, you know, where you are, where you're going, what do you want to do. Your inclination for romance. Now, how romantic do you want this date to be? Is this a third date or a fourth date? That woodsy cologne is probably not appropriate for a third or a fourth date. That lighter cologne might be. It's easier to smell. It's a little more inviting, a little more refreshing. You know, so there are certain colognes. Look, there are a lot of Ralph Lauren colognes. I love them. I love just about all of them, right? They're great Ralph Lauren colognes. If it's a romantic date, you're wearing Ralph Lauren, man. You know, you're going to go out and just really, it's such a great perfume, such a great cologne. She's going to want to come in a little bit to smell that. You just know it. You're on your third or fourth date. So your inclination for romance is definitely projected in the cologne that you wear. How you do you. This is me. This is who I am. All right? I like that masculine, woodsy smell at the right time. This is who I am, right? It says that I'm cerebral, that I'm intelligent, that I'm confident, that I'm calm. I mean, your cologne says all of those things about you, just like her perfume says all of those things about her. You know, your commitment to hygiene and style, obviously, right? If you smell good, it's better than not smelling good, and the women definitely are going to notice that. So choose your cologne carefully. But more than that, guys, choose a cologne that just expresses the right part of you and sends the right message. And the message is, come in closer if you'd like to. I'm inviting you to do that. Choose the right cologne. If you need suggestions, again, there are all kinds of videos and style blogs and fashion blogs. You know, I can give you my little bit of input. I can certainly help you, you know, find people who can give you really great input. We've got a great dating coach. Her name is Renee Piani from Los Angeles. I mean, I know some feelings that she has I could share with you. So you have resources to get good information around this. But your cologne definitely matters. Now, don't pour the bottle over your head, because nobody needs to walk in the door and you're almost a block away, you know, at the end of the room, and they can smell your cologne. Don't overdo it. Make it just enough to be a bit of a mystery. What is that I smell? What is that? Great smell, and let her kind of be drawn in by it. Maybe on the dance floor, maybe as you're walking around downtown, maybe you're sitting across the table from each other on a date and you're holding her hand and she's leaning in and she can smell just a little bit of it and she wants to smell more of it. Choose your cologne carefully, because it says a lot about you, as does the way you use your voice, as does your sense of style. Why are these things important? Remember that pre-date ritual? No woman is going to go through the pre-date ritual and not expect you to do the same. You know, if she's going to take so much time to be available for you, to prepare herself for the date, to make a good impression, she's going to want to see that you made the same effort. That's very, very important, right? So she wants to see effort, because every girl will tell you effort is definitely attractive. And also, guys, let's face it, you only have one chance to make a first impression, right? And the first 5 minutes of your date, you're making that first impression, and how that date and future dates are going to go are going to be definitely dependent on the impression you make in the first 5 minutes. So how you dress, how you smell, and how you sound, put some thought into it, boys, so you make a great impression. And then when you do make a great impression with the women that you see in this video, the end result is going to be spectacular and fun and very, very, very romantic. Take it to the bank, right? Yeah. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful and meant it to be. Let's get back to some of your excellent questions. Got a little bit of time here for questions. Let me get to them. What? Hold the phone, come back. There we go. All right, guys, I'm going to go back to try and get some of your questions in here. Mike says, I'm planning on the November tour to Shenzhen, but I thought about arriving early to spend a few days in both Beijing and Shanghai prior to Shenzhen. Can AFA help set up a couple of meetings in both those cities prior to Shenzhen? Sure. Thanks, as always, for your outstanding guidance and suggestions. Mike, God bless you. Appreciate you very much. So my thought is, yes, we probably can. If we have like one girl in Shanghai, that might be a little tricky. But what I would do is, Mike, write to Anna in our travel desk. Her name is Anna, A-N-N-A, travel@loveme.com. And say, Anna, I want to go to Shenzhen, but I want to visit Shanghai and Beijing on the way. Here are a couple women on your site I'd like to meet. Can you help me set it up? And there's an excellent chance that she can do that. She'll get back to you and let you know what you need to do to set those dates up, all right? Aaron says, you have said that people can give you a list of girls from your database to invite to the socials when you're on tours. But what could be the max girls on my list to each social? Hope to see you Saturday in Los Angeles. Yeah, man. Aaron, I hope you feel better so you can make it. Well, so look, guys, you know, on our tour, we have a number of men, and we're going to definitely invite the women from your list. So every guy on every tour can give us a list of women he'd like to prioritize when it comes to inviting women to our socials, and we will definitely do that. When we go to populate a social, anywhere we go, we start with the lists of men and the women they prefer us to invite. That makes sense. But then there are gaps, in which case I know that every local staff wants to invite certain women. Look, you can't do this job and not get passionate about the people around you. So I know everywhere we go, our local staff, they just know certain women. And I meet them at the socials. I know certain women that come to our social events in Ukraine, and I think to myself all the time, I sure hope she met somebody. I hope she'll meet somebody tonight. She hasn't met anyone yet. I'd love to see her at the social. I'll introduce her to this guy. He's really nice. I think they'd be good for each other. I'm thinking that about women at our social events. I know that our local staff is doing the same thing. So sure, they're going to want to invite specific women. And sometimes our agency partners who we work with will say, Bud, I've got these girls, they're new, they want to come to this social, and we definitely are going to invite them as much as we can. So there are a number of things that go into it. Therefore, Aaron, we always ask, 10, 12, 15 women per social, I think is appropriate. It's not an exact science where every woman is going to come or can come. It's usually about half, depending on, any number of things. So you can give us a list of 12 or 15 women. All of your tour mates will do the same. Then our local staff, then our local agency partners, and between all of that, we get a really good, healthy, diverse number of women to come to our social events. And that's how it's done. Troy says, I've decided to go the Euro Club path. Do I contact the Phoenix office? Yes, you do, Troy. Anna, travel@loveme.com. Travel@loveme.com. Her name is Anna. Say, hey, this is what I want to do. Sean says, thank you for answering my last question about Playa. Are you available to talk over the phone during the evening? Sean, possibly. Why don't you write to me, bud@loveme.com, and let me know what you have in mind, and I'll see what I can do for you, okay? bud@loveme.com. I see 3 tours to China scheduled for next year, but there's not a tour city listed on the schedule. That's interesting. It's Shenzhen, my friend. It's always going to be Shenzhen. So our China tour is always Shenzhen, China. It's our one office in Shenzhen. All right. 1 or 2 more questions. Steve says, I'm a paraplegic. I need no explanation of how different I am. How accessible are these places? Thailand, China, Latin America. I'm determined to find that special woman. I would like your thoughts. Right on, Steve. So various levels of accessibility in other countries. What I would do is this. Let me know which country you would like to go to and when. I'll write to that staff and I'll ask them what their impressions or thoughts are, and they can reach back to us. And I certainly hope that you're able to go to all of those places or any of those places comfortably. But the reality is we need to find out what the availability is. If you told me Ukraine, I could tell you right now that's really, really tough. There's no law in Ukraine which makes things accessible, unfortunately for people who need them to be accessible. So you'd barely get off the plane at the airport, and it would be challenging from that point forward. Unfortunately, it should not be that way, but unfortunately it is. Doesn't mean it's impossible under certain circumstances, because nothing's impossible. It just means that there are challenges that would have to be dealt with. So let me know, give me 1 or 2 places you want to go, and when you want to go, I'll reach out to the staffs and ask them what their thoughts are and get back to you, because I absolutely respect your determination, my friend. Good for you. Charles says, pre-date, take calming herbs and meditation. There you go, Charles. That's definitely one way. Chris says, stupid man. I'm very glad you said it that way, because men need to be men, not little boys. Well, Chris, it's true. Men need to be respectful. That's what they need to be. Guys ask me every single day in my job. I'm on the phone with guys, and they ask me, what is the success rate for men who go abroad? And I'm telling you the truth. If you're a good guy with a good heart, good old-fashioned family values, and a healthy respect for women in relationships, if you behave well, and if you've kept it realistic around age difference, which is definitely an item that trips up a lot of people, but if you can do all of that, you're going to be great. I mean, there's no reason you can't have tremendous success. How many guys that go abroad fit that description? I don't know, but it's not the majority, I can tell you that. The majority of guys are going, are either not nice guys, or they're nice guys, but they're just lost in 1 or 2 areas and they need to be coached up. Maybe they're open to being coached up, maybe they're not, and that's just how it is. So you do the self-check, guys, right? You know whether or not you're a nice guy. You know in your heart, truly, whether you're a nice guy or not. You know if you have good old-fashioned family values. You don't need to call anybody and get an assessment. Were you raised by parents who taught you good old-fashioned family values? And if so, great. You know whether or not you're going to get on a plane and go and meet anybody, or you're just going to write letters into oblivion. There are a lot of guys that are writing letters, and they believe they're going to get on a plane and go and meet somebody, but there's that little voice in their head that says, you're not going anywhere, and you know it, right? But you know if you're going to get on the plane and go and meet anybody, and you're not just messing around with correspondence, you're serious in your intentions. You want to go get the girl. You know that, right? And you know, maybe you don't know what realistic age expectations are, but we can tell you very, very easily what the age expectations are for various cultures. Most of the time, the women are going to say, we just want to meet somebody from our generation. So is he older? Great, as long as he's younger than my dad. If he's older than my dad, that's definitely going to be a problem, despite all that you've read, and the women will definitely say that. But if you can do all of that and get on the plane and go, guys, the women are here for a reason. This thing has existed for 25 years. For a reason. There are many lonely people around the world that want to meet somebody, and a lot of them are just beautiful women with no guy. So I mentioned earlier, I've been reading this fascinating article from Rolling Stone that came out, I believe, last month. I believe I'm quoting this properly, but the article was essentially an article about the epidemic of loneliness and, frankly, suicide among men who are, they call it middle-aged, but men who are in their 50s, in the Northwest. Why the Northwest? Because there are great expanses of land in the Northwest, states like Utah, Wyoming, etc. And men can get isolated and alone and have nobody and frequently become depressed, and a lot of them just don't last. But there is this epidemic of sadness and loneliness in our country. There are many, many, many lonely men, and the question is, what are we doing about it? You've got three. You can do nothing about it. You can, do something virtual. Right? You can go on the computer and find something that is a portrayal of what should be a real human experience. It's not. It's a counterfeit reproduction, but you can find that, and you can immerse yourself in that very, very easily. Or you can go, get on the plane, use the resources that are available to you, meet the men who have done it successfully, forget the men who haven't done it successfully, because there are frequently glaring reasons for that, and just go get your girl. I'm going to do this. A lot of people do this successfully. I've heard all about this. I like it. It makes sense. Of course, there must be lonely people all over the world. Why can't I meet one and have the love experience that I deserve? You can. You will. You shall. You must. All right. We got all your questions in. Hope that you enjoyed the presentation tonight. I hope you enjoyed my Monday night webcast. I hope that you have an excellent week. I hope that you'll come to my seminar in Los Angeles this Saturday from 11 to 3. I'm going to be in Burbank, Holiday Inn Burbank Media Center, it's called, Angeleno Way, 150 East Angeleno Way, I believe is the address. Los Angeles from 11 to 3. Sunday I'll be in Denver from 11 to 3. Crown Plaza is the hotel. It's at loveme.com, or write to me. And then Sunday, the 30th of June, be in Jacksonville. Come out and see me, guys. Come get my seminar, man. It's a shot in the arm. It really is. It's great information, very candidly delivered, lots of great empowering information to make sure you peel away all the becauses, right? I can't do this because of this. I can't do this because of that. Get rid of those becauses and go do it. Go get your girl. There are so many lonely women, fabulous, fantastic lonely women, and you don't have to be lonely. You can go give your love to somebody, as you should. July 6th, be on deck in San Diego. John will be there for a great seminar. If you want to come to any of those seminars, RSVP, so we make sure everyone is seated comfortably with plenty of refreshments. Nobody's hungry, nobody's thirsty, and nobody's standing in the back of the room. Bud at loveme.com. Make your RSVP. You check it out at loveme.com, all right? Behind the scenes is Kirk, who makes all of this happen, every single bit of it, the videos, right, the format, the webcast. He drives what we're doing, live every time we do it. So I'm immensely thankful for him. He's the best part of my job, quite frankly. I enjoy doing this more than anything, and I enjoy what I do a great deal. Have a great week. Bring your questions next Monday night. We'll do another one. Rana's on deck when, Kirk? This week, next week? This week. So Wednesday night, guys, this week. If you have an eye toward the Philippines, many of you have already been introduced to Rana. She's amazing. She's funny. She's a girl from the Philippines who married one of our great long-term employees. She's here in Phoenix. Same time, same place, Wednesday. Miss Rana will be here to answer your questions about the Philippines, meeting Filipino women. And you probably already know this, but she's great. She's funny. She's interesting, very cute, and very, very, very helpful, and just giving you a great portrayal of what lies in wait for you in the Philippines. If you get your butt on the plane and go get your girl there, all right? So that's what we got. Rana's on deck Wednesday. I'll be in Los Angeles Saturday, Denver on Sunday, back here on Monday for another live webcast. We'll see you then, all right? Have a great week.